Shalawam, it's your brother Rataza, all right? First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, Rahahakodash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say Shalawam to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity. All right? May the blessing of election be upon your house. The title of today's lesson is Our People Absolutely Hate Being Held to a Standard. So I seen this illustration, this post earlier today, and I figured I'd respond to it. I'm gonna put it up on the screen for you all while we speak about it. All right, so this guy named, let me see, get it full screen for you all. Named Real Tunes. Let me see here. He put up this image. He makes images for the so-called, I'm doing air quotes, black community. And I tried to zoom up on Real Tunes on his profile pic, man, but he seems like he might be an alphabet person. Now, in this image here, you got the top. He's comparing the slavery, the beatings that we would get in slavery, to the beatings that you would get from a father for doing something that you were obviously told not to do. Now, spiritually speaking, the top, the Lord used Esau as his whooping stick to punish us for our own disobedience, right? He did. Now, that doesn't disannul Esau from the judgment that he's going to receive, because the scriptures say that he took things much too far. And the evil that he does exceeds any of the evil any other people on the earth have ever done. So he's comparing that captivity, that slavery, because in the captivity, I'll give you an example here. You had breeding farms where they weren't picking cotton, they was breeding. So a guy that didn't want to breed with another woman, like his mother per se, that's where you get the term motherfucker. All right, they would have to put the bags over certain people's head because they just couldn't get up dealing with their mother, but they didn't always have a bag. They would beat that man to lay with his mother. That's wicked. That's an evil act. There's a difference between being abused or whatever, whooped within an inch of your life, to do something that's evil, as opposed to being held to a standard by your father. See, on the bottom, he's not, on the bottom, that's simply to be held to a standard. Hey, this is where we live. I don't mind you coloring a drawing, but we're not going to do it on the walls that we live. Somebody has to pay for this to get this fixed. And 9 times out of 10, Jake don't own the house that he live in. So now we owe somebody money. We can't leave this house when it's time for us to go somewhere else without having that taken care of. So you get whooped. Now let's get to some precepts. I want to get Proverbs 23 and 13. It says, "Withhold not correction from the child, for if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die." So you got to be held to a standard. And sometimes it's going to come with correction. Physically, sometimes you will be spoken to. But often the time, there's going to be consequences for it. And that stops you from developing habits that are self-destructive. You see, Proverbs 23 and 14, "Thou shalt beat him with the rod, and shalt deliver his soul from hell," from a horrible living condition. Again, from developing those wayward habits. You got to be held to a standard. So I look at this image, man, and we're going to read some of the comments people put. Our people despise being held to a standard in any kind of way. Okay, so got that one. Let's go read some of these comments here. Let's see. Okay, Real Tune's the person that drew the image, which again, I think he's an alphabet person. Looking at his, went to his profile, looked at him. So this guy seems like one of those alphabet people. When somebody who lives that lifestyle, they can't be about righteousness. Romans 1 tells you that. If the Lord gave you over to that spirit to do that which is unseemly, he gave you over to evil. All right? So Real Tunes, he says, I like how some trying to get mad at me, but they're here debating, LOL. Okay. Clearly, you know, he makes these images for clicks and likes and to start conversation. But it's always going to be in a light that's geared towards evil. It's going to be in darkness. All right, Libra guy, 1988. He puts up, if it requires a belt for you to discipline your child, you suck as a parent, you lack communication, and you're lazy. Well, I disagree. Okay. The Lord commands us to use the rod. 1. 2. Our people have been communicated to about the standard that they should live by. Does the Lord suck as a parent? He sent you the prophets. He sent you he gave you the whooping. And that still ain't get 2/3 of our people in the spirit to do right. Again, our people, they hate living by a standard. And it's really, they're in the spirit of the so-called white man. Because the white man will sit here and tell you, oh, for instance, slavery, that was so long ago, forget about it. He doesn't think that he should be recompensed for the evil that he did. 2/3 of our people, for you to correct one of them, they take it as, oh, this person is hating. They take it as evil. You understand? They don't think they should be held accountable for the things that they do. Like the scriptures say, the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the ways of the wicked seduce them. Our people have been completely emerged and seduced by the thought process of the white man. And they live their life that way. So, at the end of the day, judgment's going to happen to them. And the Lord don't care about your opinion or what you think is right and wrong. He only cares about his rules, his standard. You in your father's house, you follow your father's rules. And we're in the Lord's domain. All right, so let's read some more of these comments here. Dorothy Lynette puts up unpopular opinion. A lot of black parents, not black, a lot of black parents beat their children out of frustration. If your child is doing something that's gonna cause them to be in a bad spot, cause them to develop habits that are gonna be self-destructive, cause them to be doing things that in the Lord's eyes is evil, wouldn't you be frustrated about that? The scriptures say, be angry and sin not. Hate the evil and love the good. Frustration is evil? No. Things that rub you the wrong way based off of the Lord's standard that he's given you, it's supposed to make you frustrated. It's supposed to be like, oh, what's going on? Why is this a thing? It's supposed to be frustrated when you encounter evil, when you encounter traits that don't align with things that lead to life, things that the Lord has commanded us to do. Lot was vexated in Sodom. He was frustrated in Sodom and Gomorrah. Scriptures say that righteous man was vexed. Let's get there real quick. It's in Peter's. Bear with me while I find it. All right, yeah. 2 Peter 2, I'll start at 7. 2 Peter 2 and 7. It says, let me start at 6. Oh, man, God, lead this whole chapter. Man, we're going to have to read the whole chapter, man. Not the whole chapter, but at least from the top. like 1 through 9. Okay, let's start at 2 Peter 2:1. We're going to start here at the top. It says, but there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you. People teaching a wayward doctrine, holding up a different standard than what the Lord has held up for us, what the Lord has commanded us to have. And that standard, anything out of the side of the standard that the Lord has commanded us to have, is going to lead to our downfall and our destruction. Okay? 2 Peter 2:1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. What holds you back from getting that destruction? Correction. Right? When you come to serve the Lord, even in Sirach 2:1, the Lord says, you come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Prepare thy soul for testing, right? If you want access to immortality and the Lord being your covering, you also have to be okay with him, having you bump your head from time to time. You learning lessons. Things not always going your way. Spiritual whoopings, right? You got to be okay with that to get the access to all these great and beautiful things. Correction is the tool for growth. And sometimes that may come by way of physical affliction. But this world, again, anything that's good or right or pure, it's not going to be of esteem in the minds of the bulk of the people. Because the majority of people are evil and wicked. They're devil sympathizers. Okay, continuing on. 2 Peter 2:2. And many follow their pernicious ways. Let's look up that word pernicious. It's G684, and it's apolia. It says destroying or destruction of vessels, a perishing, ruin, destruction of money, the destruction which consists of eternal misery. Nah, it's going off. Ruin or loss, physical, spiritual, or eternal. All right, pernicious ways. Pernicious. So it's basically, a behavior that you're exhibiting that leads you to destruction. If you have pernicious ways, they got to be rooted out of you. Okay? You have to be corrected. Hey, that's going off. This is going to lead to that. And that may happen by way of communication, by way of the prophets telling you, hey, don't do this, right? On a bigger scale, on a lower scale, that may happen through your parents. Hey, don't do this. It's going to lead to that. Trust me. And they're going to tell you from experience. They don't do this. It's what's going to happen. So it may happen through communication, but sometimes it's going to happen by way of a physical affliction. It is what it is. You can't be squeamish about either one. All right? 2 Peter 2:2. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of the truth shall be evil spoken of. So look, these people on this comment board, all right? They tried to compare that bottom image to the captivity. Now, spiritually, I spoke on it on the top. The Lord was spiritually whipping us for our disobedience. But they tried to take what Esau, the heinous things that he was doing to us, okay, and compare it to a father holding their child to a standard. All right? Because they hate the standard. They hate being accountable for the things that they do. It's something that they despise. Now, again, look at some of these comments they put. Majority of people on this comment board, man, they're against being held accountable for things. They're really against growth. But again, correction and discipline is a tool that the Lord uses so you can grow. And this is why even a lot of people with fringes on, the prophets of Great Millstone will correct a lot of people. And they all take it as what? They take it as hate. They look at us as though we're evil for holding them to that standard. They speak evil of the righteous standard that's being held up. 2 Peter 2:3. And through coveted, actually, we'll finish verse 2 again. just to back up that point I just made. It says, and many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. They speak evil of the righteous standard that's held up. Verse 3, and through covetousness shall they with feigned words, let's look up that word feigned, plastos, molded form, that's from clay, wax, or stone, artificial, false, there we go, with false words, with feigned words, make merchandise of you. And a lot of people with fringes on, a lot of people in those congregations, merchandise has been made of them. A recent example in the world was given, what's the dude name? What's his name? Marvin Sapp. Lock the doors. Lock the doors. That guy made merchandise of those people because they were wooed by those faint words, and then they got the music going in the background, and so they getting that spell casted over them. And because they give into a false way, they got robbed on Sunday. All right, and the brother put up this GMS, Nawak, Shalawam, brother. It's Proverbs 19:8, and I think we read this earlier. It says, chasten, oh, no, we didn't read the other one. Proverbs 19:18, chasten thy son while there is hope, while there's still time. At this age, when you're developing your foundation for your moral compass of what's right and wrong, this is the best time to be whooped. This is the best time to have a physical, because at this age, there's certain, there's concepts that a child isn't going to comprehend because they haven't had experiences in the world yet. So they don't know what could come of the simple things that they may do. So you have to create within the home an environment that does exhibit, hey, there's consequences for being disobedient, for not upholding the standard that there is in this house. All right. Shalawam, the brother Benaiah, priest Benaiah. All right, he puts up in the NLT Proverbs 13:24, and this is what we read earlier. Okay, it says, those who spare the rod of discipline hate their children. Those who love their children care enough to discipline them. Yeah, man. And these people, again, this alphabet person that made the damn cartoon, the Real Tunes guy. First of all, again, none of our people have actually experienced love. They think love is a feeling you have in your stomach. Love is a doing. Love is a standard that you abide by and that you have respect for. So in all actuality, a lot of even these people that are pro-black, they don't love their own people. They love Babylon. They yearn to enjoy Babylon to the furthest extent. And their only gripe is that they feel like they don't get to enjoy Babylon, this society. They feel like they don't get to enjoy it to the furthest extent because of who they are, what they look like, right? So their gripe isn't with evil. Their gripe is more so, oh, we don't get to enjoy this place the way our flesh wants to. I want my flesh to fully enjoy this place, and there's certain things I can't do. So now I'm act like I'm standing for something. No, you're not standing for nothing righteous. Okay? Got to be held to a standard, and our people hate being held to a standard. Okay? So I put that image up. Did we read all these comments? Let's read some of these. Libra guy, we're going to read his comment again. It says, if it requires a belt for you to discipline your child, you suck as a parent, and you lack communication, and you're lazy. Disagree. Lynette puts up, a lot of black parents beat their children out of frustration because they don't. The comments keep covering up this, what I'm trying to read. They don't know how to regulate and discuss their own emotions. So physical punishment is the only way. I got another screenshot to read the rest of it. All right. So physical punishment is the only way they know how to curb behaviors. It stems from a lack of emotional intelligence, narcissist, all these terms that the nigger woman uses to evade being held accountable for her actions. And that spirit is not just on the nigga woman, it's on the men too. And really that spirit that's on the nigga woman derives from Esau. Wanting instant gratification, all right, Esau. Not wanting to be held to a standard, Esau. Cain gave that dishonorable sacrifice because he didn't abide by the standard that the Lord had set. The law, statutes, and commandment wasn't written down at the time, but it was an oral. It was an oral passing down of a way. And Cain wasn't with that. So again, this spirit that's on all the people, it stems from the wicked that the Bible speaks of. Real Tunes put up in his comment, he said, not just emotional intelligence, heavy environmental factors and poverty plays a huge role. When we're in poverty, we're in this lower state because we were disobedient in the first place. But you don't know that, nor would you be concerned with that. Nobody understands the big picture of things. Everybody thinks it's just a physical, carnal issue. Our people have a deep, rotting, spiritual issue that needs to be fixed. You're not cleaving unto the Father. So these curses are on us, as well as generational trauma, the curses, which goes back to the great-grandparents, which also stems, no, we went in slavery in the first place because of our disobedience. The Lord allowed those things to happen to us because of our own disobedience. He gave us a whooping from on high. So he's saying this, the trauma, the curse. No, the root of the problem is our people. They hate righteousness. They don't want to be held to the standard of the Lord. They're not seeking Yahawashi. Everything else is the problem. It can't be something. It can't be that we need to change. It's always a pointing of the finger. All right, let's see. This is the last screenshot I had here. Marisol, which seems like it's the right name. Shalakia. Marisol, okay? She said, I'm not a belt promoter myself. However, comparing slavery to discipline is wild. Like, yes, there's a difference between, there's a difference. Go actually study African-American history, please. Again, when you're getting beat so that you could lay, again, I'm gonna bring it up again, the term motherfucker. On breeding plantations where they wasn't picking cotton, they were just breeding motherfuckers. They would put a bag over a man's head and he would lay with his mother to bring forth more children. Sometimes there wouldn't be a bag. And if the man couldn't get it up, they would whoop his ass to do something that's evil. That's the difference between that, getting beat to do a behavior that leads to evil and destruction, and getting whooped so that you could stop having a behavior and live by the standard which leads to life. Getting beat for something that leads to death and getting beat for something that leads to life, two different things. Okay? All right. And Real Tune says, LMAO, such a wild thing to say from its very textbook African-American history. God's a low life. Am33 Boss, she puts up, did you try comparing slavery to parenting? He did. He didn't try. Looks like she's Muslim. She got a hair wrap on. All right. So yeah, man. Don't feel bad when these people start, being judged, because in their minds and their spirits, man, they hate the standard that the Lord has given, and they're not going to change to abide by that standard. So destruction is in their future. They're going to die gruesome, horrific deaths here. Now, understanding how life and death works through the spirit, it's not final. In the kingdom, 2/3 of our people, they'll be brought back and they'll be changed in the spirit, right? They're going to be given that heart of flesh and not that stony heart, and they'll operate in righteousness then. But right now, they're the same spirits that were murmuring in the wilderness. The Lord whooped them then. They just hard-headed. They're not going to get it. The same spirits that said, crucify him, crucify him. The same spirits that were killing the prophets, man. So they got to go. No, don't have, don't. They got to go, man. There's no way that they'll abide by the standard. It's not written in their story to. So Abba Rataza, man, the lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises once more to Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, Hakodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say Shalawam to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalawam.